My ex-husband's son suddenly sent me a wedding invitation. Take responsibility as a mother. Attend the wedding. He said, but I got divorced from my ex-husband 20 years ago. Why would he send me an invitation now, when we have no blood relation? My name is Ava, and I'm 48 years old. I've been married to my second husband for 18 years, and we have a teenage daughter. My ex-husband and I divorced after only 5 years of marriage. At that time, he had a child from his previous marriage who was just 2 years old. There was quite an age gap between my ex-husband and me, and as we spent more time together, our values grew apart. By the time the child turned 7, we were divorced. To be honest, I don't remember much about those days, because my current family life is filled with happiness. One day, while doing household chores at home, I received a call from my mother. "Hello, Ava. Do you have a moment?" "Mom, it's been a while. Is something wrong?" "Well, I just received a wedding invitation sent to you." "A wedding invitation? From whom?" "Wait a moment, Mom. It says the groom is Liam and the bride is Mia." Who are they?" As my mother read those names aloud, I realized I had no idea who they were. After thinking for a while, one name suddenly came to mind. Oh, wait, could it be? "Did you actually know them?" "Yes, it's the groom's name. I think he's my ex-husband's, Noah's child." "Noah's? But why would you receive an invitation?" "I have no idea." My mother and I were equally puzzled. I divorced my ex-husband 20 years ago. I'd been married to my current husband for 18 years. After the divorce, I hadn't seen my ex-husband or his son Liam even once. So, why would he invite me to his wedding all of a sudden? It's not like we had a particularly close relationship to begin with. I had no idea what Liam was thinking. Deciding to respond, I marked my absence on the RSVP card and sent it back. Then, a few days later, surprisingly, Liam called my parents' house. Is Ava there?" I'm Ava's mother." Ignoring my mother's confusion, Liam continued with determination. "Where's Ava? Can you give me her phone number?" "Well, who are you? And what's your relationship with my daughter?" "I'm Liam, Ava's son. She declined my wedding invitation." "What's going on?" "If my daughter declined, then that's what it is, isn't it?" "What? Ava, my mom. She hasn't done anything since she divorced my dad. Isn't she supposed to take responsibility as a mother, at least for my wedding?" Liam shouted angrily at my mother. I had already informed my mother about my decision to decline, but she clearly didn't expect a phone call. Despite her confusion, my mother tried to explain. "Well, you seem to have misunderstood something here. Ava is not your mother." "What? What are you talking about? It's true that your father, Noah, and Ava were married, but you are Ava's stepchild. You are not Ava's son." It seemed that Liam had mistakenly believed that I was his biological mother. My mother patiently continued her explanation, as he struggled to comprehend. "You're the child of Noah's previous wife, and when Noah and Ava got married, you were about 2 years old, remember?" No. "Also, because of Noah's wishes, there was no formal adoption of you by Ava. So, you're not her biological son, and I'm not your grandmother either. Understand?" "You're lying. You're making all this up, you old hag." Liam refused to believe my mother's words and, in the end, resorted to insults before hanging up the phone. My mother warned me to be cautious when she recounted this recent conversation. However, Liam didn't give up and continued to call my parents' house frequently. When I asked my dad, I found out that Ava is not my real mom. I'd been deceived by my dad. Isn't that terrible? I'm so shocked that I've lost the will to live. I just want to meet Ava and convey my feelings. Please give me her contact information. I just believed that Ava was my mom and wanted to see her. Please, I'm begging you." Liam apparently tried to explain to my mother that he is the victim and how much he wanted to see me, while shedding tears. However, my mother had reached her limit. She gave him a clear response. "My daughter is not related to you anymore. She doesn't want to see you or talk to you." There's no way that's possible, right? She's my mom and... Anyway, I'm hanging up the phone now. Don't ever call me again." "What? My mother unilaterally hung up the phone and set Liam's number to call rejection. But even after that, he continued to call my parents' house persistently, sometimes using public phones. After hearing the story from my mother, I felt a sense of dread and despair. Why would he do this to me, knowing I'm not his real mother? It was making my mother sick, so I had to do something about it. So, I asked my father for help, and we decided to make a call to the Noah's family, which is essentially Liam's grandparents on Noah's side, to clarify the situation. Excuse me for this sudden call. I have something to discuss regarding your grandson, Liam. My father began, and it seems that Liam's grandmother replied, "Has that boy done something again?" The fact that she asked again suggests that he's someone who regularly causes trouble. Well, Liam has been incessantly calling our home regarding my daughter. It's like he's stalking her. I'm not sure what's happening, but you should talk to my grandson directly about this. It's rather rude to call an old woman like me for this. I'm calling you because your grandson doesn't stop calling us, no matter how many times we tell him to stop. He is insane. Upon my father's angry words, Liam's grandmother let out a horrified cry. Please don't raise your voice like that. Insane. What do you mean? He insists that my daughter, who got divorced with your son 20 years ago, is his mother and is demanding her attendance at his wedding. Your grandson is insane, there's no doubt about it. Oh dear. He's been a constant trouble for us as well. We don't care about your circumstances. If he continues to pester us like this, we'll report him to the police. Do something about your grandson. Liam must have received my father's protest through his grandmother, as his phone finally stopped ringing. Although the burden on my family has been relieved, I still harbored lingering resentment. I still didn't understand why he was so insistent on believing that I was his mother, and why he wanted to invite me to the wedding. But, much to my surprise, the reason would become apparent sooner than I expected. A few days later, I received a call from an unfamiliar number on my phone. I was curious about who it was, so I answered the call. It turned out to be Liam's fiancée. Nice to meet you. I'm Mia, you must be Liam's mother, right? Mia. Oh, you're Liam's fiancée, right? Yes, that's correct. I'm sorry for calling you out of the blue. How did you know my number? I just had to talk to you, so I hired a private investigator. You wanted to talk to me that much? There was something I absolutely needed to confirm. Something to confirm. What she told me next was almost impossible to believe. To be honest with you, Liam is running out of money, and it seems like we won't be able to afford the wedding. No money. But you've already sent out wedding invitations, right? That's the thing. He suddenly told me that money is tight. It seems like he has some debts. I see. And when I asked him why he borrowed money, he said it was to lend it to his mother. His mother? You mean me? We had just re-established contact after 20 years, and he was already making me a part of his scheme. I couldn't believe it. She continued with a heavy tone. He claimed that I begged him to have the wedding, and he reluctantly agreed, borrowing money for it. But with debts hanging over his head, there's no way he can afford the wedding expenses. So, you called me to confirm the truth? Yes. As I listened to her story, I started to piece things together. He probably wanted me to attend the wedding, thinking of me as his mother, and intended to make me pay the wedding expenses. However, when he realized that I wasn't his biological mother, he couldn't find a way to get the money. That's why he resorted to repeatedly calling my parents home. The dots finally connected. And at that moment, I was hit by a surge of anger so intense that veins bulged in my temple. I can never forgive this. I couldn't forgive him for trying to use me like this. There's no need to hide it anymore. I decided to tell everything to Liam's fiancée. Mia, first of all, I am not his mother. Huh? What do you mean by that? He is my ex-husband's child, and I haven't adopted him. In a way, he's a complete stranger. I divorced my ex-husband 20 years ago, and suddenly I received wedding invitations from him. Given this situation, you can understand why I wouldn't lend him money, right? So, does that mean everything he said was a lie? It seems so. It's true that he mistakenly thought of me as his biological mother, but other than that, I believe it was all a lie. No. I patiently explained to her that there was no parent-child relationship between me and Liam, and she finally seemed to understand. Thank you for telling me. Mia, do you still want to marry him? She hesitated in her response to my question. No, I can't trust him anymore. That might be for the best. This is my final piece of advice. Thank you so much. Saying so, she hung up the phone. The next day, I received a call from an unfamiliar number again. Hesitantly, I answered, and it turned out to be Liam himself. Apparently, he forcibly obtained my phone number from his fiancée. He began hurling insults at me. Hey, what the hell are you doing? You're Liam, right? For someone you haven't spoken to in 20 years, you shouldn't be talking like that, should you? Shut up. What did you say to Mia? Because of you, our marriage is on the brink of falling apart. How could you do this to us? Why would it be my fault? Mia called me yesterday, and no matter how I look at it, it seems like you're reaping what you've sown. What? Are you kidding me? You should have just kept quiet and attended the wedding. Instead, you sent a decline card. In his mind, I, who declined to attend the wedding, seemed to be the villain. Remembering his selfish actions, anger welled up within me. In return, let me ask you why I should have attended in the first place. I'm not even your biological mother, and I got a divorce with your father 20 years ago. So what? You were my mom for a few years. Why couldn't you just show up at the wedding? If you don't want to attend the wedding, at least give me some money. Finally, the truth came out. I was truly fed up, and I replied, no. I have my own daughter with my current husband. She's still in high school, and we're going to need a lot of money for her education. I can't afford to waste money on someone as strange as you. What did you say? It's all your fault that we couldn't have a wedding. Take responsibility, you old hag. Old hag. Even my own daughter had never used such foul language towards me. I was initially shocked, but anger quickly overwhelmed me. You need to understand, even if I am an old hag, I'm not your mother. I have no obligation to help you. Do you get it? Even if you came asking for help, I wouldn't lift a finger to assist you. Are you serious? Do you know how much I've struggled since you divorced my dad? Huh. I have no idea about that. Why don't you complain to your real father then? Blaming me for it is completely misplaced. Even if you ask me, I would have celebrated your marriage if it weren't for all this. But now it's impossible. Just the thought of you being my son for even a moment makes me sick. You're so mean. I just wanted to borrow some money. It's not about the money, it's about your persistent behavior. You even caused trouble for my parents and lied that you got into debt because of me. You should stop treating people like that. You're so mean. I'm your son, right? I'll say it as many times as needed. You're not my son. You're a total stranger. Do you understand? Don't ever bother me or anyone around me again. You brat. After uttering those words, I hung up the phone. He seemed like he wanted to say something at the end, but I didn't care anymore. I would never have anything to do with him again. A few days later, I received a call from Liam's fiancée. She sounded delighted as she began. Gava, thank you so much for what you did the other day. Thanks to you, I was able to call off my engagement. That's good to hear. Mia, you're better off not marrying someone like that. But I'm sorry. Because of me, Liam got your phone number. Oh, it's fine. Because of that, I could finally tell him what I wanted and feel relieved. Then, after that, as she expressed her gratitude, Mia continued to tell me about Liam, the man whose engagement was cancelled. It turns out he had kept the debt issue a secret from his father. So, he couldn't ask his father for money to cover the wedding costs. Oh my, that's quite a situation. When I told his father about his debt, he got really angry. Liam got quite a scolding, it seems. That's hilarious. And when he realized he couldn't collect money from me, he started reaching out to friends to borrow money. That's so typical of him. Since he had already sent invitations to those friends, they wouldn't lend him money. It seems like everyone around him just walked away. It's the natural consequence. He brought it upon himself. I couldn't help but be amazed as I listened to this story. My ex-husband wasn't crazy like Liam. How did Liam end up like this? Well, it's no longer my concern. When we were about to end our call, Mia said to me, "Dava, I'm really sorry for causing you trouble with all this. But it worked out well for both of us, didn't it? We're completely free from that scumbag." Indeed, I never expected to be dragged into this mess because of my ex-husband's child from 20 years ago. You're right. I'm really sorry, though. You don't need to apologize, Mia. It's all his fault, after all. I hope you find someone much better. Be happy. Thank you so much. And so I finished a call with her. It was like a sudden storm of events, but it was all over, and I felt relieved. I realized how precious the everyday life that I had taken for granted was. From now on, I will focus on the happiness of my current family and shower them with even more love than before.